Alright, so what I wanted to do today was take a look back at Resident Evil 5 yet again and talk about certain parts of the game that I feel would see the most significant changes with a remake of the game. Again, it is teased at the end of RE4 remake that a 5 remake is maybe being suggested, and I did make a video a couple days ago about things I would like to see, but now we're going to look specifically at the game and see what could definitely change with a remake. So if you have your own thoughts on what you think will be different, let me know down below in the comments, but without any further ado, let's just get into the certain sections of the game I've picked and talk about how they could be changed with a remake of the game. Okay, so first of all, this is probably the biggest one I think that will change quite significantly, is the turret section in the savannah. This is a very common trope of the time the game came out, where there was always like a turret section in the game. I can think of many games that have these turret sections from way back in the day. You've got Dead Space 1, which did get a remake, and they did change that turret section completely, and it's a bit more engaging. And there's many other games too, like the older Call of Duty all had one and stuff like that. And with RE5 being more of an action-focused game, it is no question that, of course, there'd be a turret section part of the game. And it kind of split into two different parts, and we'll get to the second part in a moment. But this part specifically, I feel like they could change quite significantly. How they did it with Dead Space, I'll briefly go over it, is they made it so you weren't just sat in the turret, you actually have to engage with what was going on. And I don't know how that will translate into this section, but I have a couple ideas. First of all, one of you could be driving. If they keep it co-op, one of you could be driving and one of you could be shooting. Maybe you're not on a fixed turret anymore, maybe you are like on the back of a truck instead of a car, and while one of you drives, the other one has to move around and shoot things in front and shoot things behind, so it's not just always looking behind you. Another way they could do it is have like an NPC driving like a van or a truck while being escorted by these military vehicles, and again, you're both sat in the back of this truck trying to shoot all the way around you, looking at a 360-degree environment rather than just behind, and only using your actual weapons rather than these mounted turrets. I think that would make it a lot more intense because of the limited ammo and stuff like that. And it would also definitely make you communicate more with your partner because, there'd be enemies in front of you, there'd be enemies behind you, and you'd have to call that out for people and make sure they're aware of it, which would definitely make the whole section feel a bit more engaging rather than just pointing and clicking and shooting at things on bikes. But I do feel like, again, turret sections are definitely a thing at the time, and this will definitely be either removed completely or changed in some big way. Jumping forward in that chapter slightly, you have the boss fight with the Algae Gunther in the back of the car still, and I've seen people talk about this part already, but definitely make it so that you're not sat in the back of the truck. The area around you is quite big, there's buildings in the background where enemies are sat on, and there's clearly interior areas in the buildings behind on the left. Maybe make it so that you can fight this thing in the actual arena it's in, like you don't have to sit in the back of the truck. Maybe the barrels are still there to stop it from doing these big attacks, but again, same process as what you would do in the 4 remake, where you have to shoot it, eventually it'll go down, the parasite will come out of its back, and then you do the same thing again. Just make it so that you actually have to fight the thing rather than sit in the back of a truck, wait for a button prompt to block an attack or dodge an attack, and not being stuck with these guns that overheat constantly. Because this fight on the harder difficulty is tough, mainly because of the turrets overheating and the systems with that. But again, turret sections are a thing at the time, and I really do think the bit on the back of the truck with the bikers and this boss fight will be changed significantly in a remake of 5. Alright, so jumping forward to another big thing in 5 currently is QTE sections. They are a thing in 4, the original 4, and they're also a thing in 5 and 6. But again, they're definitely a thing at the time. There's a lot of them in the 4 remake. There's a whole cutscene obviously that they've changed from being a QTE sequence in 4 to a actual fight. And I feel like this part specifically is one I've picked specifically out of all of them. Could definitely be changed to a more, interactive experience rather than just pressing a button during a cutscene. It would be really cool to see this bit play out like in live action, where you actually have to kind of communicate where these bikers are and avoid them with your teammates. Yes, there's still probably like a square prompt to dodge, just like there is in the 4 remake, but again, you have to call these out to your teammate. Make sure you've got eyes on them at all times and shoot them as best you can as a team rather than watching a cutscene. And there's plenty of moments in this entire game that have QTEs in them, and there is another one in this video we'll talk about. But again, QTE sequences are a definite thing of the time, and they're not really in games anymore. So I do see this scene and a lot of other scenes in 5 being changed to either be just a cutscene or again be a bit more interactive and actually have the player engage rather than just press a button every now and again. Next up, we have the boss fight with the mutated Excella on the boat at the end of the game. This one's an interesting one because again, the first part of the fight, quote unquote fight, is a QTE where you're running away. And it's on the lower, like the base level of the boat. I can definitely see them changing that bit to be like an actual fight where you actually fight it down there to weaken it and then make your escape, and then you obviously do the part in the boat where you have to kind of ascend the certain levels of the kind of like the bridge and then get to the top where you can fight it in its actual form. I do think they'll change this fight quite a bit as well. I think they'll probably keep the laser pointer strike thing in, but I don't think it'll be that over the top, to be honest. But to be honest, I was kind of going at the RE5 boss fights, especially because some of them, and there's another one I do want to kind of mention in the future video, where there's always a gimmick to how you beat them. Obviously, they can all be cheesed with the rocket launcher, it's one shot and they kill everything, but there always seems to be a gimmick for the boss fights in this game. They all have one. I don't want to go over them all right now. In fact, I want to make a video about the boss fights in their entirety at a different point, because some of them require like an actual mechanic to beat. I think they could definitely change that. I'm not saying they remove the mechanic that you beat the boss with entirely, but I would definitely say they need to adjust it. Specifically, one or two of the fights in the game I can see being, you know, looked back at as very annoying, and I definitely think there's room for improvement on some of the bosses. I will say the final fight with Wesker, I feel like is the best one of the lot. And I don't honestly think they should change that at all. I think it should remain how it is, but obviously with some, you know, general remake improvements. But other boss fights in this game definitely need some attention, because they are very fiddly at times. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. I kind of wanted to throw a few things out there and kind of say, you know, these things will probably change with a remake of the game. So obviously QTEs are a big thing that should be changed, on-rails, turret sections, and very mechanics-focused bosses. They're all things that need to be looked at, I think, and I do want to make a video going more in depth with the bosses and looking at other areas of the game. Some areas are more controversial than others, so I do want to kind of look at each part of the game and go through, look at nice thin comb and look at everything. But for now, I just wanted to post this video in terms of the big things that are present in the game because of the time it released, and kind of talk about how they'll definitely probably see changes. If there's anything you guys want to see specifically changed with a remake of 5, do let me know down below in the comments. You all kind of smashed it with that first RE5 video. There's a lot of different opinions people have of the game and how they want it to be changed. So by all means, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for coming by. If you did enjoy the video, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more Resident Evil content in the future. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.